Scrap Brain Zone sucks. Yeah, I'm already there. I'll say it again, and it could be my last words. I hate this zone. I wish this never existed. I really hate it. And I wished I realized sooner so I could share to you all that Scrap Brain Zone is so bad that Sonic 1 isn't worth it. Getting game overs through Labyrinth Zone and getting through all of it isn't worth it because in the end, Scrap Brain Zone is so bad. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we already know where this is going. My Spring Yard video is now outdated. In my opinion, I couldn't consider this the worst zone in the classic Sonic games. Sonic City is confusing, and Sonic 2 is boring in my opinion, but this level is the bane of my existence. It's just bad. And you'll see why. But first, let's talk about the literal only good things about Scrap Brain. Firstly, let's talk about the tail end of the game, which is Final Zone. This boss fight, while extremely repetitive and not much to it, is one of the harder final bosses. Sonic CDs is, well, yeah, we already know. And Sonic 2's have a pretty consistent pattern, and while Sonic 3 and Knuckles' case is a completely different setup, Sonic 1's final boss is raw. You have no rings, you need to do 8 hits, dodging obstacles and reacting accordingly. It's a surprisingly average boss fight for such a boring sounding concept. And yeah, it's quite okay. It's not good, Sonic Mania definitely has the most cinematic final fight of all the classic Sonic games, but it's held up enough for me not to call it bad. And the last thing I have for good things about this level that quite literally scraps my brain of all good things in life is surprisingly the look of the level. Not the actual level, mind you, that looks absolutely disgusting and lacks any detail. It's so plain yet complicated. I'm actually talking about the background. One thing I wish the other classic Sonic games did is actually show Eggman's lair. Think about it, you're always just inside the base infiltrating it. We never get to see Sonic actually get into the lair to face off Eggman. And Scrap Brain surprisingly does. It's actually quite nice to see how threatening Eggman actually is. Plenty of industrial buildings are seen, and there's spraying pollution in the air showing how Eggman really is a threat to South Island. And it's far better than what we would have gotten if Clockwork had been a thing. And now that I'm done being nice to this disgusting disgrace of a final act of a game, let's tear it down. Now I'm not gonna start screaming in my microphone, but I will actually show you why I think this zone is the worst zone by far. What's the worst thing I mentioned about Starlight? Unfair level design and the bombers. Guess who's in Scrap Brain, guys? Plastered even more, and while yes, you can walk away from them so it doesn't explode, it does work in Sonic 1 Forever, most of the time, it doesn't work. And boy, about unfair level design. Have you seen the fire pillars, the crushing walls, the saws, the flooring floors, and the freaking bottomless pits? This isn't hard, this is bad. Same problem with Starlight Zone, amplified. What's my main problem with Labyrinth Zone? A level I like. The boss fight not having enough rings and being unfun because of it, and the insufferable unfair placement of obstacles you have to know that are there in order to avoid losing your rings, paired with the horrible accessibility. Now firstly, you can't even get social stage rings in Scrap Brain, so that's out of the question. Now let me ask you another question. What do you generally think of when you're told to think of bad obstacles in Labyrinth Zone? Well, obviously there are many different answers from bad next to objects, but for many, the spike chain ball thingy are definitely top contenders. Let's go to another video of mine. What's my main problem with Spring Yard Zone? My former least favorite zone in Sonic 1. It's the horrible music, the extremely slow level design, and the boss. Of course, we're ignoring the boss here, but just listen to this. Anyone actually like this? And hey, I'll give credit where it's due, it does fit the theme of the zone. But hey, most of the 2000s music from Sonic Adventure to Sonic Unleashed does too, and I think most of it sounds like absolute dog water, except for my one and only the level design sucks. I hate this type of design. Spamming objects like we're trying to make every section take 30 seconds long. Now, what if I told you a secret? And trust me, this is really annoying. What if I told you that having the worst part of Marble Zone, Starlight Zone, Spring Yard Zone, and Labyrinth Zone in one level for difficulty doesn't make it fun and interesting to play, and makes it unfavorable? That's the secret, guys. I'm sure no one else has ever come to the delusion, but bad and bad don't make good. You know what? I'm done. I'm happy this stupid retrospective is over, and I'm gonna be fully transparent with you guys, this isn't nearly as enjoyable as I thought it was gonna be. I didn't make Kranos Island for views about Sonic. I made it to have a Sonic community that people could be friends. I made it because of inspiration from people like Billabong and because of his entertaining challenges. There's a bunch of ideas I have, and you'll see them very soon. And yes, I will still do reviews that'll stay in this format, but they'll be whole and very, very far-fetching. Making reviews is very original, and there are many kind of ones out there, some better than mine. So don't expect the video next week titled Palm Tree Panic is a bad start, or anything like that. In conclusion, don't play Scrap Brain Zone. You'll start saying,
Sticking at your gap for the Rizzler. You're so skibbity. You're so Phantom Tax. I just wanna be your Sigma. Free